Welcome back. This is episode 247 of the Veterinary Business video show. In this episode we'll learn how best to evaluate business opportunities, and we'll hear some advice for the owners and managers of practices suffering from the impact of a financial laxative. We'll hear why vets and others should welcome the imposter syndrome. We'll learn a triage strategy to ensure that animals that need urgent attention are seen today, and I'll offer you my quick business tip for this episode. I'm John Sheridan, and this is the video show from Veterinary Business. One of the really important lessons I learned from my dad was that few people at the end of their lives expressed regret about the things they'd done and achieved over the years. Their biggest regrets were concerned with the things that they hadn't done when they had the chance and the opportunities they'd missed. Here's an interesting clip from Brendan Burchard with some advice about a technique that he uses to evaluate business opportunities.
How do I evaluate things? Because I'm a productive person, but you know what happens to me is I keep getting distracted, or I don't know which one to do. I've got two good options. I'm not sure which one to do. That helps me so much. The terms of any deal has to be less than ROI plus FV plus L plus PD. Time, energy, resources, money. This means the terms of any deal have to be less than. So in other words, what I put into something, whatever I put into something has to be less than what I think I'm going to get out. And you have to. Think about every bad decision you ever chose versus something else. You said, I wish I wouldn't have done that. You just did not consider this thing called sanity. Has to be less than what I get out of it in terms of ROI. You know what that means? Return on investment. So this is a straight one-to-one. Whatever I put into it, I better get that out in investment. I better get that out. It better save me some time, build my energy, build my resources or my money, or I don't want to do it. That's straight up return on investment. And then FV is where most people fail to have strategy. FV stands for future value. Lifestyle. They'll take the deal because it's good time. It's energy. It's making a lot of money. It's not too crazy. I can handle it, but they're not thinking on the other side, boy, if I say yes to that, that means I'm going to be working 20 more hours a week. Who's ever said yes to something that made you work 20 or 30 or 40 more hours a week and you didn't anticipate it? You said yes or jumped into something that wasn't your thing. It wasn't of your character. It wasn't who you are. It wasn't the lifestyle you wanted to be. It wasn't who you wanted to become. And that's because you didn't take into account personal development either. You can't keep saying yes or keep evaluating things in like, well, that sounds good. Just because it's good, does it serve who you want to become?
Now let's see who's on the video show soapbox. What do you think is the number one reason why businesses in general fail? What do you think is the number one reason why veterinary practices fail? What do you think was the number one reason why the first veterinary corporate in the UK, the one I helped to set up as a founder director, failed? The most likely answer is that every one of them ran out of cash. Poor cash flow in any business seems to be a much more likely cause of failure than poor profits. Here's an important clip from Joel Parker, who offers some advice for the owners and managers of practices suffering from what he describes as financial diarrhea.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Joel Parker and this is Whiteboard Wednesday. This week we're talking about another financial planning subject, and that is your practice suffering from a financial laxative? Now, I think this is quite interesting. Behind every bit of humor is some truth, right? And the fact is that many practices, possibly yours, is suffering from the money just bleeding right out of the practice with no control on it whatsoever. Financial diarrhea coming out of the practice. The bottom line is practices have habits and routines on how they might make money, how they deposit it, how they spend it. Oftentimes, the spending habit routine is really unquantified. It's whoever writes the checks, whoever has the checkbook, whoever does the orders for the food, the technician, or whoever is placing the weekly order to your suppliers. They just place it off without any regard to how much money is in there. The other really loose area is that people hiring other people or giving raises. There's raises going on without any regards to any financial plan. The other would be giving bonuses based on 1 year or 1 month being a certain percentage above last year. The problem with that is that you can grow by 20% this year, but your expenses can grow by 30%. And the problem with that is that if you're bonusing surely on the increase in gross income, you can actually overspend and go into the red. So here's some real basics on cash flow financial planning that I had to learn in my practice. I still use today. Number one, we're going to use green here. Track your cash flow on a weekly basis. That means really looking and see what did we deposit, what ended up going into the account. And if that was $20,000 for the week, okay, then you've got $20,000 to spend. The next thing is spend less than you make. Okay? Now, that is the age-old principle of financial management, especially cash flow management, and that is simply spend less than you make. So in order to spend less than you make, you've got to go back up to one, and that is track how much did you actually make that week. The third thing is plan out how you're going to spend it, and this is where Excel sheets come in really useful. I'm a big Microsoft Excel fan. It's a great program to learn. You can make all kinds of very interesting models and so forth to track how your money is coming in and how you're spending it and so forth. So the bottom line is here, guys, track your cash flow on a weekly basis, spend less than you make, and you're going to do that by planning out how you're going to spend it.
Now for a tip from the top in the business world of veterinary practice. A term which we seem to hear more and more, particularly relating to the worries and concerns expressed by many young graduates, is the so-called imposter syndrome, introduced apparently in 1978 in an article, The Imposter Phenomenon in High Achieving Women, written by Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes. Perhaps the important questions for our profession is it serious and what can we do about it? Here's a clip from Dave Nichol with some advice.
We've given it this fancy name and it's nothing of the sort. It's just the sense that the sense of not being good enough is just your internal feedback mechanism working out you actually aren't good enough. That's almost a safety mechanism, okay? It's just you working out that you need to learn more. But what we've done is we've labelled it and we said, oh, I'm an imposter, and now we storytell about how we're not good enough, and because we're all perfectionists, type A personalities, that hurts. It knocks our self-esteem. What we have to do is actually see this for what it is. Like, I want to feel imposter syndrome because it means I'm learning, it means I'm doing something new, it means I'm progressing and getting better. So when you feel that sense of imposter syndrome, when you're trying something for the first time, just know that's healthy, that's normal. Don't let it put you off. Don't let it turn you away. Resilience is one of the things that we require in this profession. Resilience is about bending back into the shape you started. But if you just always ended up the shape you started, you're not progressing, you're not getting better. What you need is tenacity to work out how to do it differently next time, okay? So when you feel imposter syndrome kicking in because you did something, you screwed something up, it didn't go the way it was supposed to, high five. You tried, and that's the most important thing. The next most important thing is to ask yourself one question. How can I do it just a little bit better next time, and the next time, and the time after that? If you stop when imposter syndrome starts, you lose.
Now for my quick business tip for this episode. My business tip today was triggered by this clip with some practical advice from Wendy Myers, in which she outlines a triage strategy to ensure that animals that need urgent attention are seen today.
Every morning, pet owners will call your veterinary hospital with sick patients who need to be seen today. So how can you provide prompt care? Well, I have 4 strategies to help your medical team see sick patients the very same day. And I'm going to teach you one right now. Ask questions about the pet's symptoms and how long they've been happening. Now, be a hero. To help your medical team see sick patients the same day, block 3 to 4 30-minute urgent care slots per doctor per day. You may need more urgent care slots on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays when most practices see more sick animals. Now, let's triage this call. Express empathy, which is the emotional connection that lets callers know you care and you're eager to help. When a client calls about our sick cat, say, "I'm concerned that Alex has been vomiting and had diarrhea all night. Let's schedule an urgent care exam today so Alex can get the care he needs. We can see him at 11 this morning or 2 this afternoon. Which fits your schedule?" Congratulations. You were a hero to the client, the pet got needed care, and your hospital will enjoy healthy practice profits. Everyone wins.
So what's my quick business tip? Well, it's this. One important admin task for the reception team is to closely monitor consulting room occupancy. They are, after all, the individuals who will have the greatest influence on optimizing the number of filled consulting slots in the practice. So their objective should be clear: to win and retain clients for your practice and to ensure that if a client believes the problem is urgent, it is urgent and room must be found to deal with it today. Well, that's about it for now. I'm John Sheridan and this has been another video show from Veterinary Business. See you next time.